Well, hello there, guys, and welcome to an early look at an upcoming game, Bonaparte, a Mechanized Revolution. In this game, you are playing as a fictional son of Napoleon Bonaparte, in this case, Caesar Bonaparte, or his fictional daughter. You're going to be playing a little bit of turn-based strategy, a little bit of RPG, a little bit of political intrigue. Pretty cool stuff, to be honest. Now, there is one huge caveat. Huge caveat, and that is there are mechs in the game. yeah, so there's no easy way to share that information. Now, whether or not that's something that interests you or not, we'll wait and see. However, the actual game itself, once you jump in, is quite interesting. As you can see, there is a role play element to it, and we're gonna just jump right into what the game has to offer. I'm not even gonna hold your guy's hand or anything like that. We're going to skip this scene where we are in the Estates General, but this is sort of the beginning of where you start making your own decisions. And believe it or not, your decisions in the game will influence the story going forward. The game does a fantastic job at giving you these options. For instance, here, we're asked to disperse, and we get to decide whether we do or don't, or ask for demands. So, for instance, in this situation, I'm playing as a revolutionary, and we sort of go down that path, see where it takes us in this case. And we can actually join the Estates General in this case and solve this perhaps diplomatically. Of course, our friend Maximilien Robespierre and Georges Danton are not going to agree with that. But again, you get to decide the story entirely by yourself. In this case, I could have continued a certain path, which would have let me into open revolution, but I've decided to, win a little battle and actually, go ahead and discuss things with the Estates General, see if we can come to a compromise. Again here, this is really cool. We get to side with one of the three political factions, which I think is just so cool. And this choice is unavailable. You'll see that later in the video because I decided to go down a certain path. Otherwise, I could have gone with the Royalists. Of course, I'm going for the Jacobins under Maximilien Robespierre. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. So this element of the game is really, really cool, and I wanted to show you this before I got into the main sort of video. Because I think it's an entirely, how can I put this, like, separate part of the action element of the game, and that is you actually control different regions, or your political faction controls different regions, and there are elements of, resources, manpower, entire armies that you're going to be leading, and the goal is to, of course, take over all of France, eliminating all of the other political factions. You can see here Mirabeau is telling us to capture the rebel territories, to, of course, bring France back under control of some sort of government. In this case, it's going to be a revolutionary republic. But to do that, we're going to have to take out these enemies. You can see that Caesar has his own army. This is our main character. And over here, we've got other armies led by different generals. Let's take a look over here. Again, all mechs. That's right. It's Maximilien Robespierre. Did I not say that initially in the video? Yeah, I should have mentioned that in the game. There are mechs. Now, I'd love your guys' thoughts on that down below. Do you guys welcome a change of pace like that, an alternate history approach like that? Or could you have done with just Caesar Bonaparte and not the mechs? You know what I mean? Just food for thought. Just food for thought. So you do reach a pivotal decision in the game, of course. In this case, the decision is whether to support the people or the king, which allows you to sort of pick and choose whether you want to support the monarchy or the revolution. I think that's a pretty cool choice. I'm going to be going with the people here. We're going to liberate the Bastille. And that's pretty much the first mission, kind of the start of the game, is the Bastille, just like the start of the revolution. Of course, there's other groups like the Impartials here, and you can see that the Impartials are actually siding with us. The Montagnards, they're Robespierre's group, essentially. The people, the rebels, etc. So we're going to have to smash into the Loyalists. And this mech element of the game, I don't know why it's necessary. I don't see why they couldn't have just made a good old-fashioned Napoleonic game with an alternative history. I think that would have been much better idea. But, you know, if you're into sort of the mechs, yeah, this definitely tickles that fancy. Ooh, that's right. I don't want to end the turn just yet. Move forward. Now, this is kind of the turn-based element, which I think is really quite well done. And, of course, we're moving up Citizen Militia here. We do, however, have some skirmishers here that could probably do some damage. See if we can't go ahead and fire our rifles. And I even kind of like the imagery there. It's just kind of neat. Push forward. But again, I think that Murat, and yes, that is Joachim Murat, one of Napoleon's good friends, is going to be leading the Dragoons here. So, you know, there's going to be different characters from the Napoleonic era present in the game. So this is going to be the enemy turn, just so everybody can see kind of the enemy way of fighting, for lack of a better term there. And as you can see, the AI is decent. It knows what it's doing. Of course, this is very, very early times for the game. But in this case, we're going to try, and that's exactly what I was thinking, Marat, outflanking the enemy. So all of those elements of the game are well done. You know, it's very much like a standard strategy game. We are going to use the flank maneuver here and charge into Jansu, and that's another guy from the Revolution, interestingly enough. That's right, some of the monarchists did end up siding with, eventually, with the Revolution. We will move Cesar Bonaparte, and of course this is supposed to be Napoleon's son. Yeah, again, you gotta take a little bit of trust here. Oh, hold on. So I think actually we may need to... No, or he's okay. Let's do that. I was gonna say, you have to vent these mechs, because it's another element of the game. Over time, they become pretty unstable with the heat. I'm going to go ahead immediately, first of all, open fire here. Only 55%, and we're probably going to lose this unit. But nonetheless, I want to go ahead and damage the enemy. And let's rush in with the peasants. You know what? Let me see what I can do with my musketeers here, led by Jacques Hebert. This is the one revolutionary character I'm not familiar with. Maybe somebody could let us know who he is. All right, let's move up. Ooh, it seems we're going to have to approach either way. It's going to put us at a disadvantage. Let's do it. She resisted a good portion of that damage. It's a shame we can't get a double attack there, but let's send in the peasants. Sometimes the mob can really do a tremendous amount of damage to the enemy. That's what we're going for here. Same thing. And as you can see, there are other elements like chanting, which allows to actually increase the unit's morale. This is something we might eventually do, but for now, I am just going to go ahead and charge. Actually, surprisingly, resisted a lot of that damage. And we don't even have enough points to intimidate just yet. Gonna hold. See what the enemy does here. Beautiful return fire, but I don't want to lose Jacques Hebert, and I don't want to lose all these peasants. We've got far too many. I think it's a, you know, an interesting take on the Revolution, to say the least. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments about it. Again, at least we finally got a Napoleonic game. I think that's a huge bonus. I'm going to move Cesar Bonaparte over here. Go straight for the flank attack on the line infantry. And as you can see, that mech will do a lot of damage. I'm going to try to finish them off here with Joachim Murat. Incredibly, he's still alive. Okay, let me try this. And there we go. The revolutionaries have put down that group of monarchist soldiers. Go for another stab here. I like the back and forth of the combat, and you know, it reminds me quite a bit of like, oh god, what's it called? Something the Revolution. It was actually a French revolutionary strategy game. Maybe it's done by the same company. I'm not even sure. I'll need to check that. Let's take a jab here. Normal attack on the line infantry. Beautiful. Again, I just don't want to lose Jacques Herbert's unit. I feel like that could be kind of problematic. Alright, that's it for this turn. Ooh, he's taking shots at Cesar Bonaparte. I don't like that. Let's see if we can't break through. Alright, so this is what I was talking about, guys, the mech heat accumulation. So you actually need to vent the mech, believe it or not. That's what we're going to do right now. And this is just to get rid of the heat because, you know, it takes a lot of energy to get this thing running. So here we go. Standard attack with the peasantry. I'm surprised they resisted that. That's shocking, to say the least. Go for a shot. There we go. Beautiful line fire. And Marat to finish off the enemy here. Beautiful. And that's all the enemy has left is the cannon. Although he can do a lot of damage, as you can see here. So I'm going straight for an attack with Cesar Bonaparte. It's so hard for me not to say Napoleon. I'm tempted to, but he's pretty much Napoleon in this game. Let's be honest. Alright, low health. And we should be able to finish them off maybe with a flank attack here. And that's it. So, I believe we've progressed, as you can see here, into the revolution. The Bastille is ours. And you can see Bernard de Launay is going to surrender. And the Montagnards, of course, are going to recommend that we spare the garrison or execute the garrison. And so there's definitely an element to this game that is decision-based, like we saw initially. And I think that's awesome. I'm going for the extreme revolutionary approach. I'm executing the garrison. For their crimes against the French people, I sentenced Governor Launay and the garrison of the Bastille to death. And there we go. We've given them to the mobs, and not saying that word, because I don't want to get banned on YouTube, but there we go. Vive la Révolution. And of course, we go back to the Estates General under Louis XVI. That's right. And of course, he's going to try to raise the ultra-loyalists to fight against us. Now, had we gone down the monarchist path, this story would be entirely different. Again, it is what you make of it, and whichever side you choose. Hope you guys enjoyed this first look at this particular game, a very interesting one to say the least, and I'd love your thoughts on it down below. I'll be honest, I don't know if these kinds of games, when they don't keep to the historical narrative, the real historical narrative, do very well, but I could be wrong. And by the way, that game I was thinking of earlier is Vive la Révolution, and looking at the art style here, I'd be shocked if they are not connected. Take care, guys. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much.